We're at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. This is a scheduled hold that will last for about 45 minutes. Everything remains on course for launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. The weather forecast remains favorable. At this time, we'll go to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas for a brief update by Public Affairs Officer Kelly Humphreys from Mission Control.
GBC dump is complete. A copy. OTC, a copy. C copy. And OTC, I'll give you a go on step 1040 as well.
This is Mission Control Houston at the T9 minute and holding mark. Flight controllers are belonging to the ascent team have been on console since about noon today, monitoring Discovery systems in preparation for the third shuttle launch of the year. The ascent team is led by Flight Director Steve Stitch with the assistance of Norm Knight, the flight director who's monitoring landing site weather conditions. Astronaut Ken Ham is the spacecraft communicator of Capcom, and he'll be talking directly to the crew during Discovery's 8.5-minute ride to orbit. He's joined on console by astronaut Chris Ferguson, the pilot of the previous shuttle mission, who is monitoring weather conditions at Kennedy Space Center. Ham and Ferguson are in direct contact with astronaut Steve Lindsay, who's flying the shuttle training aircraft around the vicinity of the shuttle landing strip at the Cape. Among other things, Lindsay is assessing today's clouds and winds both at the surface, and flight controllers also are watching winds at the upper levels, about the 40,000-foot level. At the time of Discovery's launch, the International Space Station will be orbiting 220 statute miles above southern England near Southampton. Discovery's launch is timed to match the moment when Earth's rotation carries Launch Pad 39B into the corridor or plane of the station's orbit. Down the hall from the shuttle flight control room, a team of flight controllers is on duty also in the International Space Station flight control room, led by Flight Director Quatziale Barujo, as they watch over the activities of the Expedition 14 crew aboard the International Space Station. Commander Mike Lopez Alegria and Flight Engineer Mikhail Turin are in their 83rd day in space since their launch September 18 in a Soyuz rocket from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. They arrived on the station on September 20 to begin their half year on the complex. Meanwhile, Flight Engineer Thomas Ryder is in his 159th day, nearing the end of a 6-month stay on the station. He arrived in July aboard Discovery and will return home aboard the same ship at the end of this mission. Ryder worked as part of both the Expedition 13 and 14 crews and will be replaced by Sonny Williams. The station crew today had a day off, taking care of routine weekend duties as they awaited launch of their shuttle visitors. Shuttle flight controllers here in Houston also are watching weather conditions at the overseas abort sites in Spain and France, which would be used in the event of an engine failure early in Discovery's climb to orbit. So far, Morone is considered the prime transoceanic abort site today for Discovery. However, they are looking at the possibility of switching that over to Zaragoza if the forecast warrants. At launch, Discovery will be sent aloft on the collective power of its 3 liquid-fueled main engines and its 2 twin solid rocket boosters, combining for a total of more than 7 million pounds of thrust. About 30 seconds into the flight following its roll maneuver, Discovery's computers will throttle the main engines down to 72% of their rated performance to lessen the aerodynamic forces on the shuttle's external fuel tank and the orbiter's aero surfaces. The engines will remain in that lower throttle setting for about 13 seconds. Shortly after the solid rocket boosters separate, Discovery's orbital maneuvering system engines will ignite for 1 minute and 37 seconds, providing an assist for the shuttle as it heads uphill. A little less than 6 minutes into the flight, Discovery's onboard computers will command the shuttle's main engines to swivel, allowing Discovery to roll to a heads-up position above its modified external tank during the ascent. That maneuver will allow Discovery to gain more favorable communications through the tracking and data relay satellite system. During Discovery's ascent, a television camera mounted on the external tank's liquid oxygen feed line should provide live imagery of the starboard side of the shuttle and its belly, as well as a portion of the tank itself. If lighting conditions allow, main engine cutoff and external tank separations may also be seen live, as the video is transmitted through a series of tracking stations along the eastern seaboard. For this night launch, ground-based radar will be tracking the vehicle to collect imagery. There are no planned maneuvers after external tank separation to support handheld photography of the tank as it falls away. Although cameras mounted in the umbilical well will be operating, they are not expected to collect any useful imagery in the low light conditions. Shuttle managers approved the night launch, confident that the redesign of the external tank, radar imagery, and sensors on the leading edges of Discovery's rings, combined with post-launch inspections, will allow them to verify the health of the shuttle's heat shield for landing.
Excellent. Thank you for the update.
About 8.5 minutes after launch, Discovery's main engines will be commanded to shut off, and the shuttle will separate from its external fuel tank. Discovery will then settle into an elliptical orbit about 135 statute miles above the Earth at its apogee, which will be refined to a higher elliptical orbit above the Earth about 37 minutes into the flight. That'll occur through a firing of the shuttle's orbital maneuvering system engines. Additional rendezvous maneuvers will be executed over the course of the next 2 days, bringing Discovery to a docking with the International Space Station Monday afternoon.
We copy that.
Discovery's 7 crew members will go to work shortly after the shuttle's payload bay doors are open, activating systems, unstowing gear, and activating and pressurizing the Spacehab cargo carrier. They'll begin preparing for their first 8-hour sleep period in orbit, which will begin just after 2:30 a.m. Central Time Sunday. Again, the ascent team and Flight Director Steve Stitch are set to take over control of the 33rd flight of Discovery and the 117th mission in shuttle program history at solid rocket booster ignition. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is Mission Control Houston.
Verify.
And we're back at Kennedy Space Center now, and all continues to go well as we wait out the final minutes of this built-in hold. We have about 23 minutes remaining in this hold. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is shuttle launch control.
NTD Eastern Flight.
Go ahead, Flight.
I'm ready to have my tag up with the launch director on 231.
Okay, copy that. We'll have them go over to 231 with you. NTD Launch Director, 212. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Have discussed opening the launch window with the flight director, and we've concluded we'll go for the preferred tonight. Okay, I copy that, and we'll go ahead and set that up. Thank you. And Houston Flight NTD?
NTD Eastern Flight.
Any changes or updates to our hold times or any of the window times?
Negative NTD, no updates to the lock strain back or the launch window.
Thank you. DLT, OTC. Go ahead. Clear hardware, caution warning memory, verify no unexpected errors. Good work. OTC, PLT, hardware, caution warning, memory clear, no unexpected errors. Copy, sir. And this is the NTD with our final launch window times. OTC, TBC, PTC, LPS, MILA, STM, Safety Console, SPE, LRD, SRO, CDR, and GLS. Our final launch window opening will be at 014735 GMT, and we'll close at 015235 GMT. And we have a lock stream back hold time of 4 minutes 47 seconds based on performance. OTC, you copy? OTC copies. TBC? TBC copies. PTC? PTC copies. LPS? LPS copies. MILA? MILA copies. STM? STM copies. Safety Console? Safety copies. SPE? SPE copies. LRD? LRD copies. SRO? SRO copies. CDR? CDR copies. And CGLS? GLS copies. And GLS, we'd like to go ahead and set a countdown clock resume of 013835. GLS copies, we'll put that in work. And Houston Flight NTD?
NTD Houston Flight.
You want to hold on the pass and BFS target uplinks until you get your Dolly loose squared away?
Those are not required. The G1 launch target uplink is not required, and neither is the BFS G1 launch target uplink.
Okay, we'll not perform those. Thanks.
OTC, CHTV.
Go ahead.
I can give you step 1093.
Copy 1093. Thanks.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. Have about 26 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in our scheduled built-in hold. And when the count resumes, the ground launch sequencer will be in control of all critical operations. And this master computer program will issue all of the commands necessary to perform the final critical tasks required to put the vehicle in the final launch configuration. We have several polls that are remaining. The Mission Management Team Chairman Leroy Kane will be polling members of his management team. That poll should be coming up in about 15 minutes. It will not be carried on the NASA TV loops. The polls that will be carried on the loops will include the NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding's poll, and he will be checking with various test conductors, including those responsible for the vehicle, the spacecraft, the range, tracking stations, and mission control. And finally, Launch Director Mike Langbach will conduct a poll of the Shuttle Engineering Director, the Cape Weather Officer, and the Director of Safety to ensure that everyone is ready to pick up the countdown on time. A number of major milestones remain between now and launch time. Again, when we come out of the hold, the ground launch sequencer or our master computer program will take over command of the remaining events of the countdown. About T-minus 7 minutes 20 seconds, the orbiter access arm will be retracted. Then at about T-minus 5 minutes, the Discovery's pilot, William Oefelein, will be given the go to start up the orbiter's 3 auxiliary power units. At T-minus 4 minutes or thereabouts, a gimbal check of the orbiter's aero surfaces will be conducted, and we'll do a main engine gimbal test to follow a few seconds later. Liquid oxygen tank pressurization and retraction of the gaseous oxygen vent hood and arm will start at about T-minus 2 minutes 55 seconds, and we will switch over to internal power at T-minus 50 seconds. At T-minus 31 seconds, the ground launch sequencer will issue a go to Discovery's onboard computers to start their automatic countdown sequence. Again, everything continues to go well. Weather looks like it is coming into our favor. We're not working any issues with the weather. We're green on all constraints. We have a go ops forecast and a go forecast for our TLS as well. With 24 minutes remaining in the scheduled built-in hold at T-minus 9 minutes in holding, this is Shuttle Launch Control. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding with 20 minutes remaining in our scheduled built-in hold. Again, everything continues to go well today. Launch is scheduled for 8:47 p.m. Eastern Time from Kennedy Space Center's Launch Pad 39B. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding with about 15 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in our scheduled built-in hold. Everything continues to go well. There is some discussion about the winds, however, as we continue to monitor that situation, but they are still within and well within our limits. However, we are looking at wind speeds and wind directions just as a precaution to make sure that they do not fall out of limits. This is a precautionary discussion. At this time, the observation and the forecast remains green for all constraints. Space Shuttle Discovery on mission STS-116 continues on schedule. We should be picking up the count here in about 15 minutes for a launch that will take place at the preferred launch time of 8:47 and 35 seconds tonight. Again, this will be the first nighttime launch from the Kennedy Space Center of the Space Shuttle in over 4 years. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is shuttle launch control.
NTD Houston Flight.
Go ahead, Flight.
Yes, sir. We'd like to update the crew on our TAL situation.
Okay, copy that. This is a good time.
Okay, we'll put that in work.
Discovery Houston with an update to your TAL situation.
Go ahead, Houston.
Yeah, Roman, we are now looking at 3 observed go TAL sites and 3 forecast go TAL sites. We're going to stick with Marone for launch. You can expect a 2-engine Marone call, and at press to ATO, we would like you to select Istris. How copy?
Okay, copy. Staying with Marone, 2-engine Marone, and select FMI at press.
That's a good copy on all, and the Cape's looking good.
Thank you, Hawk. You demand. And Houston Flight NTD, is that all you guys need?
NTD Houston Flight, we are done.
Thank you.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding with about 8 minutes remaining in our hold, and we're standing by for our remaining polls at this time with our NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding, followed by Launch Director Mike Leinbach.
CISL, JRPS, Houston Flight, perform the L-15 recorder activation. ISL? ISL copies, recorder activation in work. JRPS? JRPS copies in work. And Houston Flight?
Houston Flight copies, we'll put it in work.
MS-1 OTC. Go ahead, OTC. Activate V10 recorder. V10 activation in work. OTC, V10 activation complete. Copy, sir. And attention all personnel, this is the NTD conducting the launch status check. Verify ready to resume count and go for launch. OTC? OTC is go. TVC? TVC is go. PTC? PTC is go. LPS? LPS go. Houston Flight?
Houston Flight is go.
Mila? Mila go. STM? STM is go. Safety Console? Safety Console is go. SPE? SPE is go. LRD? LRD is go. SRO? SROs go. You have range clear to launch.
MCDR. CDR is go. Launch Director NTD, the launch team is ready to proceed.
I copy that. I'll do my poll at this time. Chief Engineer, Launch Director, verify no constraints to launch.
The engineering team is go.
Thank you, Charlie. KC Safety Mission Assurance.
Safety and mission assurance is go.
Thank you, Lana. Payload Launch Manager.
Space Station team is go, Mike.
Thank you, Norm. Range Weather.
Weather has no constraints to launch.
Thank you, Kathy. Ops Manager.
Launch Director, Ops Manager on 212, Mike. The mission management team is not working any more issues. You are cleared to launch.
Okay. Copy that. Thank you, sir. Discovery Launch Director, Air to Ground 1.
Go ahead.
Okay, Roman, 48 hours makes a tremendous difference. The weather is outstanding. The vehicle's in great shape, so we wish you all good luck, Godspeed, and we'll see you back here in 12 days.
Okay, Mike. On behalf of the whole crew, we want to thank you, your launch team, and all the men and women working on the NASA team. You're all going to be with us tonight going to orbit. We look forward to lighting up the night sky and rewiring ISS. See you in a few weeks.
Thank you very much, Roman. NTD Launch Director, you're clear to launch Discovery.
Copy that. Thank you. Attention all personnel. We have 3 minutes, 30 seconds of hold time remaining.
And with our final polls now conducted, everything is on tap for launch tonight, 8:47, 35 seconds. No issues are being worked, and the weather is ops go and forecast go.
NTD ISL. Go ISL. Recorder activation complete. I copy. Thank you.
We are 2 minutes away from picking up the count.
We'll resume in 2 minutes. Countdown clock will resume in 1 minute.
Standing by to pick up the count in 60 seconds. Picking up the count in 10 seconds.
countdown clock will resume on my mark.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are at T-minus 9 minutes and counting. The ground launch sequencer has been initiated. NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding is about to call for the transmittal of stored pre-launch commands as Discovery is prepared for launch on shuttle mission STS-116, less than 9 minutes away on a 12-day mission to the International Space Station.
DLT-OTC, connect essential buses to fuel cells per your checklist.
OTC, that's in work.
T-minus 8 minutes and counting.